Bienvenido.
Hello, and welcome to our Women in Business Tools to Accelerate Your Business webinar. I'm the director of the segment of IDB Invest, which has the mission of supporting businesses, enhancing productivity, and bringing social and economic development to all of our region, Latin America and the Caribbean. We have prepared a spectacular panel for you today. We know that women-led businesses, and especially SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, are really the greatest strategy and the strongest pillar for our economies to carry on. Only in Latin America, 30% of SMEs are women owned. We also know that these businesses face a lot more difficulty in terms of accessing financing, but also other forms of training. This is why today, along with our partner Goldman Sachs, would like to bring you the 10,000 Women Initiative Program, a program which for the first time is being broadcast in English, Portuguese, and Spanish, and allows women businesses, women-led businesses to access training with lots of tips and specific business cases that may help you grow your businesses. Without further ado, I would like to ask our panelists to get ready. But first, I would like to make some housekeeping announcements. Today, we have over 150 people connected. Thank you very much to all those joining us. Also, all microphones and videos should be muted and switched off throughout the course of the session. Simultaneous interpretation will be available. You will find a globe icon below in the lower part of your screen.
Below, you will find a world icon. If you click, you will hear Spanish and English translation. So you'll be able to follow everything we say during this hour. At the end of the session, al final de la sesión, vamos a poder tener la oportunidad de...
We will have an opportunity for Q&A with our panelists.
Déjenme presentarles.
So without further ado, I would like to introduce our fine panelists joining us today. We have Monica Bárcena, who's the founder and executive director of Ulalite, a Mexican business. We have Maria Lucrecia Monge, Malu, the commercial director for women's products at G&T Continental, a bank in Guatemala. We are also joined by Fernando Alarcón, who's the director for corporate responsibility and public affairs at L'Oreal Mexico.
Invitee, which is Charlotte Keenan, who leads the office of 10,000 Women out of London in the UK. Entonces, muchísimas gracias a todos por ustedes por estar con nosotros el día de hoy. Y sin más, empecemos.
Thank you very much to all of you for being with us. We shall now start off our webinar.
First of all, let me welcome you to this really important milestone for our region. As you know, and since we have been talking for a while, the fact that Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women is now available in Spanish and Portuguese is a real milestone for our region, since all of the women that are entrepreneurs will now have access to this world-class training, and not only training, you'll tell us a little bit more. So Charlotte leads the Office of Corporate Engagement of Goldman Sachs and leads worldwide the 10,000 Women program. Charlotte joined Goldman Sachs in 2015 and has since then become a managing director in 2019. Prior to joining Goldman Sachs, Charlotte was also the chief executive of Tony Blair Foundation, so a wealth of experience in supporting women entrepreneurs. So Charlotte, tell us a little bit more about why Goldman Sachs put together 10,000 Women, and why did you decide to now bring it to more women around the world? So tell us a little bit more, why this program, and what is this program about?
Great. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Stephanie, and thank you very much for inviting us to join this conversation today, and very much looking forward also to learning from my fellow panelists. So 10,000 Women, for those of you not familiar with it, it's a program that we set up now going back in 2008, and really driven coming out of the financial crisis in our belief that we needed to do more to help female entrepreneurs around the world. And what that meant is that we needed to support women with a management and business education. And I know many of you will be familiar on this Zoom with often the lack of opportunities presented to women with this respect. And then latterly, we also introduced a capital element. We based it, as everything we do, on rigorous internal research. One of our research analysts, actually based in Japan, Kathy Matsui, had done a huge amount of work on womenomics and a number of research papers looking at women hold up half the sky. And so it was really taking this essence of, we knew that we had to, and we knew that we could do more to help female entrepreneurs. So what is it? And obviously in the last 12 years, we have been on a journey, but at its core and its essence, it's a highly targeted mini applied MBA designed to give female entrepreneurs all over the world the skills and tools that they need to grow their businesses. So in the initial phases of the program, we ran it in a number of different markets, in person, and we partnered with universities throughout the world. And the curriculum that was built, and this is why I think it's so special in many respects, was a true partnership between Goldman Sachs and not just one, but many different academic institutions and academic experts and practitioners best versed in how to help and how to skill female entrepreneurs. We then, in 2014, recognizing also that there was a significant gap with women in access to capital, launched a partnership with the IFC through the World Bank. And then latterly, which is the program that we'll focus on today, we really have realized in the last few years, we wanted to take this program global. We wanted to make it available to any female entrepreneur anywhere that wanted to gain the skills. We know that the program works. You can imagine at Goldman Sachs, we measure absolutely everything, and the results truly speak for themselves with this program. And so we launched 10,000 Women Online, which takes the very, very best of what we have built up over the last decade plus. And it's situated on Coursera, the online learning platform. And within that environment, a business owner can take, there are 10 different courses, can take the full 10, or given the demands and the challenges that we know on women's time, can take just one if that's easier for them.
That's wonderful, Charlotte. Thank you so much for giving the overview. And as you said, one mini MBA, that's really something that is fabulous and made available for free and online for all women around the world. So could you perhaps tell us a little bit more of the courses? So a mini MBA in a record time. Tell us more about what is the content and how it is structured.
Of course. So 10 courses. The key element is it's highly applied. And this is the difference between a standard MBA. A standard MBA, you'll go to business school and you'll learn a lot, theoretical. With 10,000 women, every single course is tailored specifically to that individual's business. So we start with looking and diagnosing the business, helping the entrepreneur, understand the different components of their business, how it is working. We break that down into all the different elements, including, for instance, looking at their leadership style, looking at their competitor analysis, understanding their market base. We then put it back together again and really help build the structure and processes around that business. So, for instance, we have sessions on how to build teams and manage people. A lot on financing, processes, etc. And then we encourage all participants to build towards a growth plan, which is really a business plan to go forward with, to enable that entrepreneur to put into practice everything that they've learned throughout the course.
That's wonderful, and I love the fact of bringing really something practical to the theoretical and really empower, the women business owners across the board. So you mentioned leadership skills, but you also mentioned, analytical skills. So could you perhaps tell us more about one course, maybe negotiation?
Sure. And this is something that's fundamental. Something that we often get the feedback that our business owners struggle with. But obviously it's absolutely critical to having and growing a successful business. This was actually one of the courses that was built in partnership with one of our academics at Wharton Business School. And really, as we think about this course, we help the participant think about all the steps that they would need to achieve in order to achieve a successful negotiation. So thinking about how they establish rapport, how they establish trust, the dialogue that they need to get there, and how to build towards a creative solution. So again, the key point here, very, very practical, and that we would hope that on completion of that particular module, the business owner was able to put this immediately into practice.
Thank you, Charlotte. And my understanding is that once the participant finish the 10 modules and the whole course, they go and are now part of the alumni of the 10,000 Women program. So what is this alumni about? What is this network? Tell us more about this.
Yes, so this is a phenomenal network. And I have to say we continually learn as much from this powerful group of women as they're certainly learning from us. So it's a network of over 10,000 women plus across the world. They therefore all have a common identity and a common experience and a common goal, and that really helps bind them. We take that group and their ongoing learning journey very, very seriously. So two key aspects that we know make a successful network. One is that they have access to each other and that they continue to learn from each other, and they share their experiences. And so we facilitate ongoing networking opportunities, partnerships, and connectivity between that alumni base. And then the other component, and I think this is really brought to the fore if I give a recent example, through the pandemic, is we continue supporting that population. So through the pandemic, again, recognizing, the many challenges that these women face, we organize coaching through our university partners, through Goldman Sachs coaches. We ran regular live webinars on different topics, emergency cash flow funding, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very, very active and engaged community.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, for giving us this overview of what the 10,000 Program Initiative is about. Ahora, ya que vimos un poco de qué se trata el programa, y realmente para nosotros...
Now that we've seen a bit about the program and what it's about, at IDB Invest, what we would like is for our region, LAC, to get to know these tools, but above all things, for it to understand how to apply it. So we have both a corporate as well as a financial institution representative and a business entrepreneur, a women entrepreneur, to tell us about this. This is why we've got Monica Bárcena here. She was recognized by Goldman Sachs's 10,000 Women Initiative in 2019, and she currently directs Ula Light, a lighting business with 35 staff and a wonderful network of designers. She founded, and it seeks to enrich the ancestral heritage as well of participants. Welcome, Monica. And since you went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women program, could you tell us how it helped you, what you got out of it, and how you're applying it within the context of Ulalight? Thank you, Stephanie. Well, for me, it was very important to do the 10,000 Women course. You see, my background is in design, rather than in business. So to me, being able to learn about the financial modules, which were totally alien to me, that was extremely valuable. And a bit as Charlotte was saying, we as women are often very much accustomed to, as we say in Mexico, to perhaps discussing diets or movies or boyfriends, trips, but we hardly ever talk about business. And this forum created by the 10,000 Women course is beautiful because for the first time, you're able to talk to others who are going through the same difficulty as you are in business, and you have an opportunity to discuss that, and it is very enriching, and you no longer feel so lonely in the business. So, you know, since I come from the world of design, I didn't really have a business plan before I took the 10,000 Women course. It's incredible that my business should have survived without even having a business plan in place. And now I'm a lot clearer as to what I want to do and where I want to take my business, thanks to the Goldman Sachs course. Thank you so much, Monica, for sharing that. Tell us a bit more about how it actually helped you. How did you transform your leadership? What did you actually change after going through this program? Well, the main thing, the way I see it, was first, you know, imagining the possibility of having financing. You know, when you're surviving from hand to mouth in business, you know, paying wages and trying to make ends meet, you hardly imagine that there could be financing sources. There is a module at the beginning of the course that says, well, look, with your turnover, you can have access to this kind of financing. What would you do with that? I had never, ever imagined that you could actually think about what to do with some spare money, some extra money, because there's never really any extra money. So, you know, when you sit down to imagine what you would do with a business plan, that's the first step towards growth. Because in the meantime, otherwise, you're just trying to stay afloat, surviving, and it doesn't really give you the time to imagine what else you could be doing. And to me, that was extremely important, in addition to the fact that I now have control tools which I didn't have before, like, you know, cash flows or financial statement analysis. I didn't know how to read financial statements. I really don't know how my business had survived before. But now I'm truly very thankful for this course, and I'm asking my team, you know, which, by the way, I try for there to be a balance between men and women. Most of my team don't have much English, so now that the course is available in Spanish, they are going through the modules. For instance, my sales team is going through the sales team. My admin team is doing the financial modules as well. So it's been very helpful. Another module that I found very useful was the one on processes, which I really didn't have any appropriate process analysis, even though we're a factory. So that was extremely important as well, that particular module. Thank you so much, Monica, for sharing that. And I would like to highlight two key points. First, the access to networking. And, you know, as business women, it is very important to have a women's network where you can talk business and share. And I would also like to highlight the fact that the 10,000 Women course gives you concrete tools, going from processes to negotiation to reading financial statements, which very often we men and women don't know how to read financial statements. So that helps a lot. And you also talked a lot about empowerment, about empowering your teams. The fact that the course is now available in Spanish and Portuguese, and for us at IDB Invest, that is key in order to bring that to our region. That is vital. Now, I think I'd like, and going back to what you said, to see how a business uses this program, this 10,000 Women Initiative, to empower its clients, its employees, and its value chains. So I would now like to pass on to Maro, Commercial Director for women's products at G&T Continental, a leading bank in its segment in Guatemala. We realized at IDB Invest, after supporting over 35 financial institutions throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, how important it is, in order to accelerate any women's business, to have proper financing and training. Financing becomes key. Tell us, Mario, why did G&T decide in a country like Guatemala to launch a specific line and product for women? But above all things, why did you decide to launch this also with a full non-financial and training offer? Thank you, Stephanie, for this opportunity. And one of the things that we as a bank want to recognize is the important contribution made by women to society, to business, and to the world's economy. And last year, we got an IDB loan with a focus on SMEs, and especially women SMEs, which helped us start on the road of understanding the segment. We also had the recognition through Value for Women with insights into the segment. We became part of a group of over 60 banks sharing best practices and success stories as to how to attend to the needs of the segment. And that is extremely important, to identify the key elements, having a successful bank program to really attend to the women entrepreneur segment. Also, it was very important to really go deeper into the needs of our women clients, what they needed as entrepreneurs, as businesses, and as women. And based on this, we developed a comprehensive program which aims at us becoming strategic partners for women as a bank. In other words, not just being a mere transactional bank. We want to be a catalyst for the growth of women-owned businesses through essential components like financial and non-financial services, including training, networking, also collaborative opportunities, so that women will find, as Monica said, the opportunity to talk about business and not just the kind of stuff that we would normally discuss with our friends. And another very valuable element in implementing this program is that since you've got to train your own internal team, the service is taken to the next level. And now you are suddenly able to give better service to all of your clients through additional services that will create value for them, not just capital. Thank you so much, Malu. And here, I think it is key to see how a financial institution realizes that it's not just about giving access to financing, which of course is important, but in order to really support the growth of your clients in the long term and to have partners, grow with them, become a coach, a partner as part of the growth, training becomes especially important, and also the non-financial offer. G&T is a committed bank with resources to create its own offer, and Maru is talking about this too. But for all financial institutions listening, which perhaps don't have the resources to create their own offer, consider the Goldman Sachs program as a great option to supplement your programs for women's access to credit. Now, recognizing the value of SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprise owned by women. This is something that not just banks, but corporates also see. And I'd like to talk to Fernando Alarcón from L'Oreal. He could tell us a bit more about why a multinational corporation as important and committed as L'Oreal has seen this as strategic. He has a degree in administration through the Mexican Ibero-American University. He has over 20 years experience working in advertising, marketing, human resources, corporate responsibility, and public affairs. He started out in large businesses and marketing chains in Mexico with such accounts as Best Buyers, P&G, and he's also launched some of the flagship products of L'Oreal in Latin America and the Caribbean. Fernando, tell us a bit about why L'Oreal sees women as a strategic segment, not as consumers, but as a partner, as a true partner to help them grow their business. And what have you done to help women grow within this framework, Fernando? Absolutely. Thank you very much to the IDB and to you, Stephanie, for this invitation. I would like to send a virtual greeting to my fellow panelists, Charlotte, Malu, and Monica. L'Oreal has a long track record in supporting the rights of women, our main consumers, of course. And within our company, they account for over 70% of our human resources and many of our social programs aimed at women. I will talk to you about a program called Beauty for a Future. In 2016, L'Oreal Mexico launched this training program for women in vulnerable situations in the styling, makeup, and skincare segments. This program is run with a structure that works in terms of human development. We offer 300 hours training in styling, makeup, and skincare. So far, we've had 279 graduates, 279 alumni as part of our program. A high percentage of them starting out in their own businesses, often offering, delivering services or working formally at beauty salons. And our vision going forward is to scale up our social impact through this program, also based on these proven results, and to benefit thousands of women who haven't had the opportunity to study or complete a formal study program or degree. And perhaps styling and makeup may give these women an opportunity to improve their living conditions. So they're giving a certification as styling specialists for 6 months. They get training through experts in the field, and they also get comprehensive human development courses in order to help them strengthen their emotional health, empower them as a whole, as women and future business entrepreneurs. Our goal is for the women who go through this training, for them to achieve their own goals, to be able to grow their businesses and have a positive impact in their societies. We also include psychology and human development components in our programs. What we see is that the world doesn't just need people who know how to do stuff, but we need for them to be exceptional human beings, and we know that that is possible by providing the appropriate tools to this end.
Thank you very much, Fernando. So now we realize how a business the size of L'Oreal can create this program to follow up women and help them become entrepreneurs. So with the corporations that we're working with in the small and medium businesses, the program can really be a focus, a focal point to create and this is of course in Spanish, Portuguese, and English, so that they can provide value added to these small and medium-sized businesses. They can provide opportunities to grow and lead to meaningful economic development in the Latin American and Caribbean regions. So now, let's move on to Malu. So how do you intend to really give life to this proposal? I know that it's one thing to talk about theory, but let's discuss the nuts and bolts in terms of the implementation process. Well, everything looks really nice on paper, and we're hoping that all of the components that we are developing hopefully will lead to a successful outcome. One thing that's very important, and we identified among the benchmarks, the internal role, the training, as well as the need to create awareness in order to maximize all of the opportunities and the value added. And also how, as the bank, how are we looking specifically at providing these opportunities for women? And one essential element has to do with training and advice that we can provide entrepreneurs throughout the process as we walk them through it with the financial processes. We looked at training the teams in the area of sales, business planning, also working with emotional intelligence and a collective intelligence that is very essential in order to overcome many of these barriers that we face in civil society that sometimes perhaps are not that evident. So this in turn allows us to provide women better advice and improve the level of advice and the other segments. And in our portfolio, we've identified the specific needs of women, but we're also following that up with the training programs, networking programs, recognition efforts as well. And about a week ago, we looked at increasing and leveraging internal talent. We have a program where our managers, our directors, our CEOs are providing that space for learning, for example, in terms of policies and measures to train entrepreneurs and this the human talent development experiences should be shared. And we are sharing our know-how, our experiences, lessons learned. We're also looking at a platform where we have a series of articles, videos on our platforms on business development, also articles written by renowned experts. These are very valuable resources that we want to provide access to female entrepreneurs without having to pay any additional costs. And the bank would like to closely follow and accompany female entrepreneurs every step of the way as we for example, women who may not be able to receive loans, business loans, but we want to accompany these entrepreneurs step by step from the very beginning, providing training, lessons learned, and they can become business clients. And as they grow, we are also growing.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much, Malu.
So we have seen that the program can be
Bueno,
used by an entrepreneur, by a women entrepreneur to grow their business. We have also seen, and part of our objective is to show that the tool of 10,000 women can be also used by financial institutions and corporations to empower the women as clients, to empower also the women that are in their value chain as stakeholders, as entrepreneurs, as sellers. So let me go back to you, Charlotte. Let's go back to London for a moment. So can you tell us, if I were to take the course tomorrow as an entrepreneur, or if I'm a company and I want to drive this course with my value chain, with my clients, can you tell us a little bit what the course experience will be like? What's the length of the course? What's the interactivity? Is there a course that you would recommend above others to start?
That's great. So firstly, if you are a company and looking to use this with your clients, thank you very, very much. And we can always help you with promotion and materials to help disseminate. I mean, if you're taking the course, and as I said earlier, the key element is that this has been built with flexibility in mind. So you go on to the 10,000 Women landing page, and I think I've just seen someone send around the link to the course at the bottom. And there you will see all of the 10 courses. So you can take any one as you will. My personal recommendation, because I spent many, many hours building the course and helping create it, is that actually it is a tailored journey, and the modules are in a particular order to really help the entrepreneur and business owner as they develop and build their business plans. Each will take about 4 hours. They're fully interactive. And I think this is a really, really important point, knowing some of the challenges around traditional online learning. So we've built this, making it as interactive as possible, and so that you will be able to connect with, chat to fellow entrepreneurs taking the course at the same time as you on that particular journey. So in a nutshell, highly flexible, highly bespoke and targeted to your business and highly interactive. And if I was going to give my piece of advice, of course, I would say take all 10 and then come and join us in the alumni community.
Thank you, Charlotte. Y bueno, efectivamente se han dado cuenta que este es un material gratis.
Well, as you can see, first of all, these components and all the materials are free of charge. The commitment is to not just bring it to the benefit of our customers, but also hopefully these the content and the development tools will help in cultivating business and entrepreneurs. And that's why Goldman Sachs has taken the trouble to provide the materials and courses in the various languages, Portuguese, Spanish. And so we provide that broad or holistic vision within our teaching tools. But now let's get back to today's discussion. Today, we are experiencing times that are totally unprecedented. COVID-19 has got all of us now quarantined and lockdown. So we're looking at reinventing ourselves to create or provide training and that is accessible in Portuguese and Spanish. And with this very practical focus and approach, let's get back to Monica. So we know that the current crisis has had an enormous and devastating impact, not just in the business world in general, but in particular the small and medium-sized businesses. Now, looking at strategies, what innovations have you introduced so that you can remain in business throughout, with Una Light, throughout this crisis? Well, the fact is, at first, I was completely fearful and overwhelmed as to how we were going to address this. Our business was focused in the hospitality industry, hotels. So we had that dual challenge, but we developed a strategy based on two specific points. First of all, we need to be completely transparent with our team. We also, when we looked at how much we had in terms of funds and time, so that we could continue to pay our bills and overhead. That was very important to know. Also, we renegotiated loans. We were given a 4-month grace period, which was also a very important achievement. And also, we were working on increasing sales and promoting sales. It was very difficult, but we were able to somehow survive. But we also had, after the initial shock, we reached a point where we just had to let go and just trust in that things would turn out all right. And fortunately, we're still here and we continue to operate. Well, thank you very much for sharing, Monica, that experience. We know that this has been a totally unprecedented situation. At the IDB, we have been launching all sorts of initiatives to help governments, businesses, so that they can also create a climate to help small, medium-sized businesses and keep them going. So thank you very much for sharing your insights and experiences. And through our clientele, through our specific innovative initiatives, we will continue to move forward to support businesses and women entrepreneurial initiatives in Latin America and in the Caribbean. When you realize that businesses headed by women reinvest much more in the community, they provide much greater access to growth opportunities. So it really is a no-brainer to not support these businesses and to keep them growing. So our hope is to continue to provide all of you who are listening these tools that help to achieve these objectives, these outcomes. And with our businesses, we can support the maximum number of with the financial institutions, businesses, and women entrepreneurs. Now, Fernando, let's get back to, as we said, we are experiencing a critical time, and we know that you've been very socially responsible, and I'd like to know how you responded. Is there anything you did specifically for women entrepreneurs, and how do you view the role of women in general? So maybe you could relate to us. How are these crises becoming essentially opportunities? Yes, thank you for that. Of course. Let me just state that we just launched our 2030 sustainability commitments in achievements for the future. And we have three pillars supporting this. First is a transformation of our company that respects, for example, um, planetary needs, also working in strengthening businesses and our contribution to address the principal challenges faced globally. And this third pillar in particular is one where L'Oreal created a fund with 150 million euro investments, of which 50 million will be earmarked for supporting philanthropic organizations and addressing the needs of highly vulnerable women. And as we have already said, L'Oreal has had provided a great deal of support in women's initiatives. And that's why we are focused on the current offshoot of the COVID-19 crisis that has particularly hit women hard in terms of jobs loss, and they've been objects of sexual and domestic violence. So another issue that our program, Women in Science, which reflects our commitment that the world needs science and science needs women. The L'Oreal Foundation and UNESCO actively supports women involved in the field of sciences to raise an awareness, create greater pools of talent, and encourage women to develop their talents. So about 29% of researchers globally, of only 11% of the academic positions are held by women, and only 3% of Nobel Prize laureates in the sciences have been won by women. So this is what really has inspired our program. So as we say here in Mexico, we really have, we're very proud because we've had two female laureates, Nobel laureates in sciences, Miss Charpentier from France and Jennifer Goodman, who developed a method to gene development, to genetic development to combat cancer. And they, one of the lords had received, was a part of the initiative. And thanks to Women in Science in Paris in 2016. She was a part of that. That's why we are so proud with that achievement. Now, since the creation of Women in Science in 1998, since then we have supported more than 3,000 researchers in 118 countries. In Mexico, our local program for women in science through the UNESCO and the L'Oreal Foundation has given 79 projects for scholarships in research programs. And we recognize their role, their engagement as serving as mentors to help us really change our reality for the future. Thank you very much for sharing that broad range of programs and support initiatives that you have ongoing in Latin America and the Caribbean for supporting women. So if there's any questions from the audience, please feel free to start texting us. But just to conclude with that, one thing we want to convey with this webinar, first of all, we just wanted to show to you this tool in Spanish, Portuguese that will serve companies and those who are listening to see how a company like L'Oreal is supporting a wide diversity of women entrepreneurs through the value chain. So it really is a win-win situation. So again, by leveling the playing field, we all come out ahead. And just the fact that one of the women from the program, Women in Science, is now a Nobel laureate. That's a great achievement. So investing in businesses headed by women really pays off. It's good business. And we're seeing that within the financial institutions. Our our clients throughout the region, and many of you understand that this is good business. Support and invest in female entrepreneurs. So, gender equality isn't just something that is the right thing to do. Women also make meaningful contributions to the economy. GDP increases by $30 billion. So this is not something nice to have. If we want international and global development and development in Latin America and the Caribbean, this is good business. So we can see that there are several questions in the pipeline. Now we have, this is a question from Malu. So Guatemala, and actually the region, is one of the most conservative regions. When you look at the statistics in Latin America and the Caribbean, we realize that we have very strong female business leaders, but there's a lot of biases. The role of women, their traditional roles, they're seen as working as housewives. So when you launch a specific program earmarked for women, how do you address these biases and how do you overcome them? Well, I think one of the greatest challenges that we have, and it gets back to the first question, when we presented the program, for example, we were asked, so what are the benefits? Is there improvements or in terms of the terms of payment? So one of the major challenges is how can we communicate that this isn't just a product, this is a holistic approach, a total support system where we serve as strategic partners. I think that's one of the major challenges. Another one has to do with the paradigms, as you indicated. We have, for example, entrepreneurs that have had an incredible track record, and yet we don't recognize that track record. We don't value that track record of achievements. So we want our people to recognize the value added by women in society, in the economy overall, and applaud these efforts constantly, just as we do with all of our other clients. So I think these are the key challenges: to acknowledge, recognize these efforts, and not people just seeing this as a product instead of an overall holistic solution. Thank you, Malo. We realize that this isn't just something that impacts Central America and Mexico, but also in the Caribbean. We see in the Caribbean where women have really been a real force in the region, as in terms of creating businesses with and joining that with skills development. That really makes a recipe for success. Now, the program Beauty for the Future is already present in several Latin American countries. Could you relate some through how this program, women were able to gain access to training and improvement, and how that's benefited them? Well, I would just add that our program, the Beauty for the Future, is currently present in some of the main markets in Latin America. We've seen successes in Colombia, in Argentina, where the number of beneficiaries of the program has been significant. I'm talking about at least 5,000 who have benefited from the programs. So I would also just state that this learning process, especially during the COVID pandemic, where we all had to go home through the lockdown and had to start all over again doing new activities. But if we look at the all of the enthusiasm shown by the instructors, the beneficiaries, those working with the L'Oreal Foundation that headed this program, we created platforms using WhatsApp groups and Zoom platforms so that their classes would not be disrupted, and that students, if they wanted to receive mentoring from their coaches, from their instructors, and then ultimately they would be able to incorporate all these success stories in this format. Thank you very much, Fernando.
Charlotte, we have a
Charlotte,
question for
we
you.
have,
As you know, IDB Invest operates both in Latin America and the Caribbean, and the Caribbean is particularly important to us. We have a question coming from the Caribbean that says, upon completing the course online, do you get a certification, like an official certification? Can you please structure a little bit more on that?
Yes, and great question. So the answer is that if you complete all 10 modules, you receive an official certificate, which testifies to the fact that you've taken the course and completed it, and that's from the Goldman Sachs Foundation.
Great. Thank you very much, Charlotte. Tenemos una pregunta también para
we
Mónica.
also have a question for Monica.
Además, obviamente, del acceso al
In
financiamiento,
addition to access to
recomiendas para
financing,
crecer
is there anything else you would recommend to help grow businesses? Well, I think training, you have to continue with the training process. In addition to the course itself, I think this, I think, really is the starting point. It also creates, instills curiosity and an interest to continue to learn, to follow that up, especially during these trying times where we have to work as a team and we need to learn more as we go along. And I think that this is the right time to establish partnerships and not just focus on competition. The world is showing us that many things need to be changed. So I believe that it's essential that these lessons learned from 2020 need to be followed up and implemented. We have issues relating to pollution, social issues that need to be addressed immediately. And I think that's where it really flows. I think that's where our new world is going to really
Muchísimas gracias, Mónica.
coalesce. And
Una pregunta
all right, thank you.
para
And
Malu.
we have another question for Malo. Here, the question is, when the bank launched the program for female entrepreneurs, what was the result for, did this lead to expanding larger businesses? Well, right now we're just looking at small and medium-sized businesses, but we hope that this will be cross-cutting. So eventually we hope to expand to the corporate level and various segments, and not just be confined to small and medium-sized businesses. We're doing the transition, but the first phase is obviously on small and medium-sized businesses, and then also work on those incipient and fledgling corporations. Well, look at the experiences, and maybe Malo can talk about this, that it's not only are we seeing expansion with regards to the vis-a-vis the clients, but also we're seeing a major shift and change internally with the companies. And I don't know if Mano, I don't know if you would like to talk about the need to focus on both the internal and external components. Well, one essential element, and this is something I've seen in a lot of the training sessions that we've had with the bank, is that you work from home so that that can be reflected outwardly. So the team on social responsibility issues has worked very arduously to ensure that skills, know-how be valued, as also the opportunities, both for men and women, There's an effort that starts with bringing in the people in dealing with gender issues and also gender intelligence. And with that, we know that that's the chip, both in the team and also the at the individual and team level, makes it much more inclusive. Instead of any sort of discriminatory view, we have a much broader and holistic perspective to value that wealth that we have internally. So when we go outwardly, we still will value these principles and resources. Thank you, Malu. Well, just to conclude, I would like to thank each and every one of you
and to Goldman Sachs for partnering with us in launching this in Latin America and the Caribbean, especially that the course is now in Spanish and Portuguese. Muchísimas gracias a Fernando por compartir la experiencia.
Thank you very much, Fernando, for sharing your experiences with L'Oreal, for the commitments for the future for 2030. Thank you, Monica, for sharing your experiences as an entrepreneur and as a graduate of the 10,000 Women Initiative. And I thank Malu for your experiences as well. So to conclude, I'd just like to reiterate the commitment each and every one of you made by the IDB to develop the private sector in the Latin American and Caribbean regions. And as I mentioned at the outset, our purpose is to improve living standards and lives. And we want to have that outreach to not just small and medium-sized businesses, but also any groups that may seem vulnerable, to give them an opportunity to grow. That's the purpose of our existence. So we hope to provide that support for all of the sectors in Latin America and the Caribbean. We support every sector, but in looking at areas of digitalization, sustainability, climate change, private partnerships, for us, it is essential in Latin America and the Caribbean that you continue to grow. And with IDB Invest, you know you have a partner to help foster that growth, to improve living standards in Latin America and the Caribbean. So the tools will be shared with all of you who have been with us today. And without further ado, I wish you a very excellent October 7th. And on behalf of the IDB Invest, thank you for being with us here as we continue to improve the lives of people in Latin America and the Caribbean. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.